Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for ruining my brother's marriage because his wife left me at the pool? This whole situation is so bizarre that I still can't really process it. It still doesn't feel real, but I feel scared and guilty. I had surgery a couple days ago to get all 4 of my wisdom teeth out, and because I have a really bad fear of dentists, they had to drug me pretty hard to do the removal. Not like laughing gas that wears off really fast, but actual fourth medicine, so I was pretty much unconscious during the whole thing. They told me to have a responsible adult drive me to the appointment and back because the meds they gave me would make it dangerous to drive. My mom was on a work trip and couldn't take me, so I asked my sister-in-law Brie if she could do it, as the whole thing would only take an hour or 2. I even offered gas money because the dental office is about 45 minutes away. I would have asked my brother, but he works during the day, while Brie is a stay-at-home mom to their 2-year daughter, who I think was at Brie's mom's house that day. Brie agreed to take me to my appointment and the surgery went fine. Brie waited in the lobby for me to be done. When I came out of anesthesia, I was very disoriented and nauseous, which I guess is normal. I had gauze shoved in my mouth to stop any bleeding, and Brie took me to her car after I was let go. I don't really remember much of the drive, but it felt like not enough time passed before Brie got out of the car and told me to come with her. I was really out of it and just followed her because the alternative was staying in the hot car. Long story short, we were at a pool. I was really confused, but once we were through the gate, Brie basically parked me at one of those little table benches, said she'd be back in a while. I was still trying not to puke and was really dizzy from the heat and the drugs, so I asked her to take me home, but she wouldn't. I guess since it was her day off and she didn't have my niece, she was meeting friends at the pool. I was starting to feel really sick and on the verge of passing out or having a panic attack, so I called my brother. I don't think he could understand me between the meds and the stuff in my mouth because he hung up, and I guess called Brie because she came stomping back over, cussing and yelling at me, and took me back to the car. I passed out on the drive home, but when we arrived, my brother had left work and met us in the driveway. He was screaming at Brie and she was crying. I was still pretty disoriented, but my brother took me back home and stayed with me until the meds wore off. That's when he told me he's divorcing Brie because of what she did, plus some other things he didn't go into detail about. It's been a few days since then, and Brie has been blowing up my phone telling me what a bitch I am and how me tattling destroyed her family. Part of me feels bad because of my niece, and I wonder if I should JJST dealt with it and waited for her to be done at the pool instead of calling my bro and causing problems. Am I the antagonist? Op, you are not the cause of their divorce. However, if you discover the cause, kindly update this post so that others can learn. He is doing the right thing by divorcing her, and that is due to her behavior, not yours. Comment by team member Jordan. Now for the top comments. NTA, you did not ruin your brother's marriage. She did. This sounds like the latest stunt she's pulled in a long line of thoughtless and harmful behaviors. Seriously, I wonder how often she plops her kid in a seat in the heat to hang with friends. He's divorcing Brie because of what she did plus some other things. Op, you are not the reason they're getting a divorce. But if you find out the reason, please come back and update because inquiring minds want to know. NTA. Even if Op was the reason for the divorce, they should have no guilt. Well, not for the same reason as Op. I was put under for getting my wisdom teeth. The laughing gas did not work on my mom, and that at least mildly traumatized her. Probably more than mild, but she doesn't talk about it much. I was mildly out of it till about 6-8 hours. Where Op was at with coming off the drugs, they should have a buddy/caregiver with them for at least that 6-8 hour period to make sure they are okay. Am I the antagonist for pressing charges against my girlfriend's friend for stealing my doll? I, 26 male, have been with my still girlfriend, 26F, for almost 4 years. Last year I gave her a key to my house. She spends a few days there, but we don't live together full time. A few days ago, I had to make a quick trip for work. She asked me if she could invite a few of her friends to the house for a girls' night. It was on Thursday. I accepted. I returned yesterday in the morning. The first thing I noticed was that the rag doll missing from the wall. My first instinct was to call my girlfriend to ask if she had put it somewhere else. She denied it and said the doll was there. It wasn't. I checked the GPS of the doll. Yes, it has a GPS. The GPS marked the house of one of her friends. Let's call her Jess. I tried to be nice and told my GF to tell her friend to bring it back before 5 PM and I'll pretend this never happened or I'll involve the police. She tried to fight it, but I told her about the GPS. Well, my GF called me back saying that Jess denied having the doll. We had a huge argument and warned her that I wasn't playing about getting the police involved. I waited until 5 and went to the police. We went to her house and got the doll back. I pressed charges. My GF and I had a bigger argument about me pressing charges. They, including her, known the doll was made by my father. They could have stolen anything else, and I wouldn't bat an eye. I gave her friend a chance and she tried to play stupid. They have been calling me an asshole and to drop the charges. Edit. I will answer some your question here. If you have more IWLL, try to answer them. The doll is with me. It's a rag doll. Better said, it's a Raggedy Ann doll. My father had many hobbies. He tried making dolls and was planning to sell them. But the first one he made was a freaking Raggedy Ann doll. So it didn't last. He was too manly to sell Raggedy Ann dolls. Ridiculous. I know. He gave me that one. And actually, he made 4 more for my best friends. The doll was hanging in my room. But once he passed away, I hung it in the living room. It has X's as eyes and looks creepy because it looks dead. It has a GPS because my home was robbed 7 months ago. I don't care if they clean the house as far they leave the doll. I've more expensive items she could have stolen, so I don't know why she would steal the bloody doll other than a sick joke. My GF never complained about it, at least no to me. I haven't talked to her other than telling me to drop the charges. I will talk to her tomorrow to find out why she let her friend take the doll. We've been here before and never did anything like this. And about our relationship. Because right now, I'm thinking in breaking up. Put the girlfriend away. You've seen who she is. Trust her. If anything, your GF should be apologizing for bringing a thief into your home. Jess had the opportunity to return the doll to you for free. She attempted to claim she didn't have it while lying. Comment by team member Charlie. Now for the top comments. NTA, but your girlfriend is for being upset with you rather than the friend who literally stole from you. Don't drop those charges, dude. Stand your ground and maybe rethink if you want to be with a girl who is okay with sentimental items made by your father being stolen from you. Oh, and change your locks, but don't give her a new key. I'm seriously thinking breaking up with her. And yes, I took my key back and changed the locks. NTA, Jess could have saved herself from the hassle of police involvement by not stealing, or by just fessing up and returning the doll once caught. Your girlfriend could have saved Jess from the hassle of police involvement by telling Jess to cut the crap once she knew the doll had a tracker in it and was unequivocally being stored at Jess' place. You gave them every option to do the right thing. It's not your fault they chose poorly. Also, change your locks. Your girlfriend is obviously not trustworthy enough to have unmonitored access. Your girlfriend is obviously not trustworthy enough to have unmonitored access. FDFY. True story. Am I the antagonist for holding a baby wrong when no one instructed me how to hold it? My 19F cousin, 31F, sent me a frenzied message that she was going to leave her baby with my mom and dad for 30 minutes because she had to quickly go to an appointment. She brought the baby, but my parents weren't home. It was me and my friend, 19F. She put the baby with us and left for 30 minutes. When she returned, she started screaming that I was holding the baby dangerously and snatched him from me, saying, "What are you guys doing?" My friend has never held a baby, and I have not held one since I was 3 years old. If she wanted him held a certain way, and there are dangerous ways to hold one, she should have said so, in my opinion. Not everyone is a new parent who has read 10 parenting books and taken baby rearing classes. She accused me of holding the baby irresponsibly. My friend pointed that it's not exactly responsible to just ditch your baby somewhere without someone who isn't childcare professional. Am I the antagonist? NTA. Your relative ought to have demonstrated how to correctly hold the infant for you, or brought the infant along to the appointment, or chose another form of treatment. She ought to have been more responsible. You are in no way at fault. I don't understand how somebody can assume that others already know this. Comment by team member Alex. Now for the top comments. Why would she leave her baby with people who have never even held a baby? If she planned to leave the baby with your parents, she should have at least asked if you could handle the baby before running off, not the a-hole. If the parents weren't even home, she likely didn't even ask them if they could watch her kid. She probably just assumed they wouldn't turn her away since she was already there. Planned to leave the baby with whoever was there. Obviously she didn't call Lop's parents and ask them since they would have said they weren't home. NTA. Don't leave your baby with people who don't know how to care for babies. NTA. I was coming here to say the same thing. NTA. Baby is the parent's responsibility. She shouldn't leave it with two 19-year-olds who are not her babysitter without some instructions and expect to have the job done right. If anyone was irresponsible in this situation, it was 100% the mother. Am I the antagonist for asking my team member where she was when I noticed her away/offline status while she was WFH? My team at work does 4 days WFO and 1 day WFH. This is because we have sensitive physical paper files to work with as part of our work, so we still have to come into the office. One of my team members, Sarah, had appealed to do 2 days WFO and 3 days WFH instead, on the basis that she has 2 kids to look after. Although other team members also have kids and Sarah had no problem coming in 5 days a week before the pandemic, I relented to the request after she became emotional. I've noticed of late that when Sarah is WFH, she has a tendency to go offline or away on Skype during office hours. She is usually offline or away for more than an hour each time. Yesterday, I finally asked her about it and told her that other people, internal clients and external stacker holders, have come to me for work matters she's handling because they could not locate her. One external stacker holder even told me that Sarah was on leave when I clarified that Sarah was not on leave. The stacker holder was bewildered, but she's been offline the whole morning. Sarah was defensive and sarcastically apologized for not being there to reply to messages immediately. She then added that, as long as she got her work done, it didn't matter when she was online or offline. I told her she didn't have to be online for the entire 9 AM to 6 PM duration, but minimally from 10 AM to 5 PM, with a break for lunch, so that people can reach her if they need to, and b. other team members don't notice and start following her example. Particularly since Sarah is senior to the others. Sarah was unhappy, and since then I've come to be aware that she has been saying things about me to the rest of the team, including how I'm a dinosaur still working according to former working norms. So, am I the antagonist? Edit. The entire division, including Sarah, reports to me. Sarah is salaried, not hourly. Sarah's work is affected by her behavior because part of her job is being available to internal clients and where applicable, external stacker holders. External stacker holders can see whether Sarah is online or offline because we are all linked in a single public Skype network comprising related agencies, organizations, companies and ministries. Separately, Sarah's conduct affects me and other team members since we have to respond to queries meant for Sarah, particularly where they are urgent. It also reflects badly on the division as a whole when Sarah is unreachable. Being present is the basic minimum need for job. NTA. But I will add that there have been major changes between what was possible prior to the epidemic and what is possible now with regard to children. There are simply fewer possibilities for childcare. How many times a day does she leave the house? Comment by team member Jordan. Now for the top comments. Info. Is she actually unreachable during all of these times? Or is her status simply away/offline? I don't know if this is the case with Skype, but Microsoft Teams has a tendency to switch my status to away if I don't move my mouse for more than a few minutes. So if I go to the bathroom, it often sets my status to away, and I don't always notice immediately when I get back to my desk. Just a possibility. Thanks. She doesn't reply to messages or emails when she is offline or away. This can last from an hour to an entire morning. That certainly makes a difference. Thanks for your response. NTA. If part of the job is being reachable for colleagues, she needs to be reachable for colleagues. NTA. Employees are evaluated on more than work product. There's teamwork, reliability, engagement, etc. Further, business hours do not change because you WFH. Sarah's lack of accessible denotes her failure at teamwork and engagement. People that think like she does are going to be sorely disappointed, outright pissed, when they do not get a bonus or promotion, or lateral move to a different position. If your coworkers and clients cannot access you during business hours, you're failing at your position. Am I the antagonist for refusing to financially support my in-laws? My husband, 28 male, and I, 28F, are physicians. With my husband still in residency and myself having just graduated residency, we've been together 10 plus years and married for almost 2 years. But we've spent many years of our relationship in long distance due to medical training in various parts of the US. We are quite happy now to finally live together in a larger home we are renting. Due to the substantial increase in my salary with the post-grad job, we can afford this larger place. My husband's parents and brother, 24 male, live in an apartment 20 minutes away. My husband was living in that apartment with his family prior to me moving here, and paying the rent for it single-handedly. My in-laws sold their prior business in 2020 amidst the pandemic, and were couch surfing with relatives for a while, before moving into my husband's apartment in 2021. Since then, my mother-in-law has taken up her hourly pay job, but my Phil and brother-in-law have not worked and are not planning to. Brother-in-law has a master's in finance, completed about 7 months ago, but has not attempted to interview for any jobs. They spend their time with volunteering at the religious center in town 60 a week, 12 hours a day. I'm all for volunteering, but doing it full time doesn't pay any bills. Now my husband lives with me, but continues to pay the rent for the old apt. The lease is on his name and non-transferable to his mom due to income needing to be 3x the rent. This lease is up in 5 months, and my husband does not want to renew it. For context, while my husband and I make enough to theoretically continue covering our own rent as well as the other rent, we also have hefty med school loans to begin paying back. We would ideally like my brother-in-law to put his degree to use and get a job if he, mother-in-law, and Phil would like to continue living at that apt. The other option they've brought up is moving into our new place. We don't favor this either, due to again no financial contribution from them, as well as some lifestyle differences, dietary, etc. We obviously would like to continue a lifestyle and would enjoy some privacy together given our history of long distance. We've repeatedly hinted, albeit lightly, about brother-in-law getting a job, but would we be the a-holes for refusing to renew the lease and also refusing to let them move in with us? Also for context, we come from a culture where moving with your in-laws is normal and encouraged. NTA, if brother-in-law wasn't going to use his degree, why did he go to school? Your husband has contributed for a sufficient amount of time. It is now time for someone else, brother-in-law, his parents, or all three, if they are healthy, to step up and start making their own money. Comment by team member Shannon. Now for the top comments. NTA, they are grown people and need to provide for themselves. They have lived off your husband for too long already and need to be standing on their own 2 feet or 6 feet. NTA, culture or not, you don't enable people to mooch off of you. Brother-in-law and Phil need to get it together, and by you two saying you're not renewing the lease or allowing them to move in with you should be all the push they need to get out and work. Especially with the Masters of Finance, your brother-in-law could be making close to what a family med MD makes, but is choosing not to. NTA, an acquaintance from a more communal culture than mine told me once that their family doesn't tolerate deadbeats and mooches. Sure, they pitch in and share housing, and income when anyone in the family is going through a time of need, but they don't pay someone's bills or give them a place to live so they can lie around while everybody else works, not unless they're very old or very ill. Personally, I think it's outrageous that your award for surviving medical school and internship and incurring huge debt is two able-bodied grown men standing there with their hands out. Don't hand over your paycheck or give up your privacy for that. Well said. I agree with this one. 000%. Not the a-hole. Am I the antagonist for telling a stranger to pronounce my name right? I, 16F, do a sailing course every summer. For context, we are often paired with people our own age and are forced to sail with them from 9 AM to 1 PM. Last week, I was put with this person. Let's call her Jessica. Jessica, 17F, didn't acknowledge me when we were put together. We set up the boat so it was ready to sail and got it on the water with no complaints. Jessica then decided that she wanted to sail the boat. Even thought I previously asked her if I could sail it. I'll let her sail it. That was a big mistake. She said I had set up the boat wrong and that the sail was ripped and dirty. It was not. And that was the instructor's problem, not mine. She would yell at me for sitting on the wrong side of the boat and would constantly ask me to adjust things on the boat that I physically couldn't. On top of that, she would constantly mispronounce my name. She would call me Eve. My name is Eva. Eva, but is spelt in Irish, so it looks like Ava or Eve. I have a close friend called Eve and people get us mixed up often. So it is a pet peeve of mine when people pronounce my name wrong. You can imagine how annoying it is. Eve do this, Eve do that. Even though I corrected her multiple times, she still called me Eve. By 1 PM I had had enough of it. I was ready to go home and actually be called by my own name. I was just about to walk to my Uber when I hear her voice behind me. Eve, before you go, I need you to clean the sail and set up the boat for the next people. I'm going home now. I had enough. Plus, cleaning the sail was our instructor's job, and setting up the boat was supposed to be her job. Since she was sailing that day, I told her to do it herself. And by the way, my name is Eva. I have never felt more like a badass as my Uber pulled up, and I walked off. So rude it. Am I the antagonist? I would also let the group leaders know that you no longer want to sail with her. Just be honest with them if they ask you why. I'm a pessimist. And what would I have responded if she had been upset over the way I had spoken her name? I mistook us for being up with names for one another. Comment by team member Charlie. Now for the top comments. NTA. People continually mispronouncing my name when I've corrected them multiple times makes my blood boil. It shows a lack of basic respect. Thank you. It's so simple, and it really is annoying. NTA, you were more than fair and corrected her mispronunciation. She made no attempt to get it right. Hey, you were nicer than I am. I would have just spent the trip inventing new versions of her name to answer her with every time she didn't use my correct one or attempt to use my correct name. Hey Eve. Op, yes Messica, why do you call me that Eve? Op, what do you mean Jacinta? But my name is Jessica. Eve. Op, sorry Araminta, what did you say? I would have just ignored her ass. Sorry, I thought you must be talking to the voices in your head because my name is Eva. Definitely not the a-hole. That girl must be pretty dumb and ignorant if she keeps on mispronouncing your names after you have corrected her like 10 times.